bunker play is an area that strikes fear into a lot of club members' hearts. And really it shouldn't, because if we can go back to the basics again, remember how much we covered it on my first tape. Let me just run over a few things to just simplify it and help you get out of the bunker. Now, first of all, when you come into the bunker, remember we talked about our target line here through the ball. So basically we can pop a line down in the sand, give us some idea. Now remember, we want a glancing blow coming across the sand to lift the ball out. And then we dig our feet in. The ball is now placed somewhere towards our left heel, something like that. Stance, the weight is nice and even, knees bent. You can see how much the body is now and the feet are pointing left. Something like 30 degrees. You don't want to go too far. You don't want to get up to 45 degrees, otherwise the angle is too sharp across the ball and you won't get any forward motion to the shot. So about 30 degrees. The club face is then held open, but open in your grip, remember. We don't want you to just simply open the face because it will automatically come back to the natural position. You open the club face and then grip the club. So the club face is now a little open to that target line. And the club now swings on our shoulder plane, which automatically takes it a little bit outside the line and then back through. Now, one thing I think I do a lot, which helps me, is after I've got the club to this position, we don't want to keep going too steep in this angle. You must remember, when the club gets to here, we want to lay the club off a little bit, which shallows the plane out and makes it easier to strike through the shot. So take him away outside, and you want to get the feeling of the club in this sort of angle. That will help you considerably. So it's way there and through. Remember, the knees stay very static, the body's not moving too much. It's really an arms and shoulders motion. So let's hit a couple and get the feel back. There we go. And as you can see, that the most important thing of bunker shot motion is nice and smooth back and then accelerate through. If we start stopping or killing snakes, as Gerald Micklem used to describe my bunker play years ago, there, hit through. And that's really the basics to it. We're working just a little bit across the line. We don't want to be too much across. I'll show you, if you come too hard across, you get no forward motion to get the ball out of the bunker. So just keep it a little outside and through. And stay with the shot. That's the important thing. I think a lot of people would be trying to help it up. Don't get into a scooping sort of mode or anything like that. Hit down and through and trust that the bounce on the club will get that ball heading towards the pin. Now that's a quick recap on bunker play. Now David, you come in here and I think we're going to help the amateurs into their problems. And I wonder if you agree with me, I see two problems when I play with the amateurs on the golf course. One is they try to pick the shot, the ball off the sand with no body movement, no explosion of the sand. They're sort of afraid of it and they try this sort of fella.
Correct.
And the other one I usually see is they believe they've got to move, you know, hell and high water and absolutely try and muscle it out. So
that's right.
How would we cure that?
Well, I think the thing is, people need to understand that, first of all, that you actually hit a bunker shot more with an open face from a regular lie, and most amateur golfers tend to close the face and they're really not using the sand wedge in the correct manner. So by setting up to it, if you just take your address position there, we can see that the club face is actually aimed at the target or almost slightly right of it. And as you swing the club back, let's swing it back there, and we can see, right, now take it back to the top there, you can see the face is very open at this point. Now if you can just swing it back again, Nick, for me. We can see at this point here, we see many amateurs have the face closed, especially when they try to take it outside too much. So swinging the club on the line of your body with the face fairly open will allow you to get the right angle onto it. And just swing it through nice and smoothly. And finally, I think just maintaining the flex in your knees without trying to help it.
Yeah, I think you've got to, you don't want to try and come up on the shot, that's what you're saying. Just try and keep everything level, keep your knees. This right knee is a great key. I often use that. If I can keep my right knee still, I can pull off that right knee, pull down with my hands with this stationary, and then release through. Let me just try one of those.
That's very good.
Now, we've given you the basics of the bunker shot, but after that, the next important thing we've got to learn to understand is actually reading the sand and what we can do with that lie. I was fortunate enough to see Gary Player do it at this sort of clinic. Obviously, once we've got the stroke correct, obviously we're then going to get downhill lies, uphill lies, but in this situation, reading the sand determines what we can do. Now, I've got 4 lies here. A very good lie, one slightly further down, and progressively getting down, right down to this plug ball there. Now, what's going to happen with these 4 shots, if I take a normal swing for all 4 of them, they're obviously going to react totally differently. The one out the sand, I can impart quite a lot of backspin and be in control of the shot and get the ball to stop as quickly as possible. And as you can imagine, as the deeper it goes into the sand, as you enter the sand, there's going to be more sand between the club face and the ball, less backspin, and the ball's going to run progressively more. And this is something you've got to understand. It's impossible to try and put backspin onto that shot, that lie rather, with it being deep down into the sand. The ball's going to pop out and run quite considerably. Where at this end of the scale, we can do that. We can get a lot of spin, get under that ball, and zip it out and get it to stop. Using the same sort of stroke, I'm going to try and play these 4 shots and show you the difference in the reaction. So first, the good lie, where I can get under the ball and get some spin to it. Secondly, now the ball's a little bit further down, the ball should come out and run a little bit more. There we go. Okay, the third ball is now a little further down into the sand, so that should run a little more. There we go. Yep, see that one releasing? And of course the plug lie, where really all I've got to do is just hit down on the shot onto the front of the green, and it should run all the way up to that pin. It's certainly going to run. There he goes. So there we go. That gives you a basic idea of the different situations, the different lies you're going to find yourself in. Just practice those a little bit and you'll get the feel of what you can do out of the sand.